Welcome to WealthRise Stories, where clarity meets knowledge, and knowledge becomes financial power.
Welcome back to the channel on WealthRise Stories, and today we're diving into an adventure, an exploration that I truly believe will change the way you look at one of the most talked about topics in life, wealth. Have you ever stopped and wondered where money, wealth, and prosperity actually come from? Is it just some twist of fate, like winning a jackpot lottery ticket that only a handful of lucky people ever get? Or is it a privilege reserved only for those born with a silver spoon, inheriting fortunes passed down from one generation to the next? What if I told you that becoming wealthy is really a formula, not luck, not destiny, not striking the lottery? A formula, a process you can learn, repeat, and achieve results that are almost predictable. Sounds a little wild, right? I get it. Most of us, including myself, for a very long time, grew up believing wealth is a game of chance. We assume rich people got there because they were in the right place at the right time, or because they had connections we don't have, or worse, because they did something shady to get ahead, or maybe they were just born lucky. End of story. That mindset has sunk deep into the subconscious of so many people. It creates an invisible barrier, making us believe wealth is out of reach, something reserved for a chosen few, instead of a skill that can be developed. And once you believe that, you stop searching, stop learning, stop taking action, you accept your fate. But then something shifted my perspective completely, and I believe it's going to shift yours too. It came from a statistic that the first time I read it honestly made me shiver. Did you know this? Over 80%, yes, you heard that right, over 80% of millionaires in the United States, and the number is even higher in several other countries, are self-made. Take a moment to let that sink in. Self-made. Not inherited, not gifted, not born into wealth. They started from zero or even below zero. They created their wealth step by step with their own effort, discipline, intelligence, and persistence. If wealth were all about luck, then how on earth did 80% of people who weren't lucky at the starting line manage to get there? What did millions of people suddenly hit the jackpot at the same time? That makes no sense. This 80% isn't a coincidence. It's the clearest proof that there is a path. There is a method. There is a set of principles at work. It's not mysterious or unreachable. It's a system that can be learned and applied. They followed it, and if they could do it, then so can you. And this is where I want to make you a promise, one I hope keeps you with me through this video and the ones to come. This video is not where I reveal some secret magical wealth hack that only I know, some mystical formula where money just drops into your lap. No. That stuff belongs in fairy tales and shady ads. What I do want to share with you today is a roadmap, a blueprint, a set of principles, strategies, and mindsets that have been proven over and over again, something you can actually use in your own life. A path millions have already walked, and millions more are continuing to walk right now. Wealth is not a privilege for the lucky few. It is a skill. And like any skill, driving, playing an instrument, writing, even cooking a great meal, it can be learned and mastered. Together, we're going to peel back the layers of misunderstanding to see that the path to prosperity isn't nearly as complicated as you've been led to believe. It requires effort, consistency, and discipline. But most importantly, it requires a framework to follow. And that's exactly what I'm going to give you throughout this series, starting right now. We're not talking about luck. We're not talking about fate. We're talking about real actions, mindset shifts, and strategies that have stood the test of time, validated by countless successful people. So are you ready? Ready to change the way you look at money, the way you look at yourself, and the way you view your own potential? If you are, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss a single step on this roadmap to prosperity we're about to explore together. We're starting right now with the first piece of this wealth-building formula: transforming your mindset about money. Today, we're beginning a special journey, one that has the power to change the way you think about money, success, and even yourself. It's a journey into a book whose title alone makes a lot of people skeptical, maybe even a little uncomfortable: How to Get Rich. I know. Just hearing that title probably brings up a dozen questions, maybe even some negative thoughts. Here we go again, another get-rich-quick book, or probably more stock trading tricks or real estate moves that don't apply to me. Or maybe deep down you actually want what the title promises, but it still feels out of reach, unrealistic. Trust me, I know that feeling better than anyone. To start, I want to share a very personal story, something from my own journey. Just like many of you watching, I struggled with money for a long time. I remember the days when I worked non-stop, early mornings to late nights, sometimes even weekends. Yet somehow my money just kept slipping through my fingers. Every time the end of the month rolled around and I looked at my bank balance, that same sinking feeling would hit me. It wasn't the kind of poverty where I couldn't eat or keep the lights on. It was something deeper, a frustration, a disappointment, in realizing that no matter how hard I tried, I was stuck in the same cycle of make money, spend money, run out of money. I wanted more than that. I wanted freedom, peace of mind. But I had no idea where to begin. During that time, I was also pulled in by flashy promises of instant wealth, once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, and millionaire secrets being sold online. I tried some of them. I failed, and I lost both money and faith. I learned the hard way that shortcuts don't lead anywhere. They just drain you and leave you more lost than before. The real turning point came when I realized the problem wasn't how much money I was earning. The real issue was how I thought about money and what I did with it. It was a mindset shift, an awakening that sustainable prosperity only comes from building it intentionally, step by step, on solid principles. I didn't need magic. I needed a system. I didn't need empty promises. I needed a roadmap. And that was when I stumbled, maybe by luck, maybe by destiny, onto this book, How to Get Rich. At first, I was skeptical too. But as I turned the pages, I realized this wasn't the usual get-rich-quick nonsense. No gimmicks, no unrealistic claims. Instead, it laid out a philosophy, a system of timeless core principles, proven not just by the author, but by countless successful people throughout history. This book doesn't promise you'll become a millionaire in 30 days. It doesn't tell you to quit your job tomorrow and chase some blind opportunity. What it teaches is how to build lasting prosperity, not just in terms of dollars, but in freedom, in time, in your ability to create value for the world and live a meaningful life. It's about the mindset of a wealthy person, the habits, the ethics, the real-world strategies anyone can learn and apply. It's a roadmap not only to having money, but to becoming someone capable of creating and sustaining wealth. So in this video series, my goal isn't just to summarize the book. I want us to analyze it, reflect on it, and even challenge it together. We're not just sitting here, passively listening. I'm inviting you on a journey where we dig deep into each principle. Look at how it played out in my own life. And most importantly, figure out how you can apply it to your own situation. Together, we'll build a practical action plan, step by step, turning these abstract ideas into real, measurable results in your life. These videos will be structured clearly so you can follow along and apply what you learn. We're going through the 10 core chapters of the book, each one a foundational pillar of wealth building. After each section, I'll not only break down the theory, but also share real stories, hard-earned lessons, things that cost me time, energy, and sometimes money to learn. And by the end, we'll put everything together into a detailed action plan, so you can start immediately, right after this video ends. Remember, this isn't just a video about money. This is about autonomy. about taking back control of your life, about becoming a stronger, wiser, more capable version of yourself. I'm truly excited to have you with me on this journey. So, are you ready? Let's open the first page of How to Get Rich. And more importantly, let's open a brand new chapter in your life. Have you ever wondered why some people, no matter how hard they work, always seem stuck in the red, while others take off like a rocket and hit financial freedom almost effortlessly? Is it just luck? Or is there some kind of code they've cracked that you haven't? In our How to Get Rich series, the book that changed my life and the lives of so many others, the first and most fundamental answer has nothing to do with complicated investing tricks or some overnight wealth formula. It starts deep inside your mind. And that's exactly why we're beginning this journey with Chapter 1, Change Your Mindset, the foundation of wealth. This is not just another chapter in a book. It's a call for you to re-examine the entire operating system inside your brain when it comes to money. Every financial result you get, big or small, comes from one place: your mind. 1. Breaking your limiting beliefs about money. Be honest with me for a second. When I say the word money, what pops into your head? Freedom or stress, opportunity, or the source of all your problems? Most of us grow up surrounded by negative beliefs about money planted by family, friends, school, movies, even the media. You've probably heard things like, money is the root of all evil. Rich people are greedy and selfish. Making money is really hard. You have to work yourself to death. Money changes people for the worse. If you're born poor, you'll probably stay poor. I still remember my grandma telling me, "Don't be too obsessed with money. It'll turn on you." And in so many stories we heard growing up, rich people were painted as villains, while poor people were portrayed as pure and saint-like. Without us even realizing it, those messages installed a program in our minds that money is bad, dangerous, or at least something we shouldn't openly desire. So what's the problem with that? When you believe money is bad, your brain will do everything it can to protect you from it. You'll subconsciously push away opportunities to make more feel guilty talking about money, or even sabotage your own finances without knowing why. But think about it, money itself isn't good or bad. Money is just a tool. It's like a knife. In the hands of a chef, a knife can create an incredible meal. In the hands of a criminal, it can do harm. Money works the same way. A good person with money can do way more good. Build schools, help people in need, invest in meaningful projects. A bad person with money can amplify their harm. So the issue isn't the money. It's the character of the person holding it. The first thing you need to do is start recognizing these limiting beliefs inside yourself. Try writing down your very first thoughts about money. Then ask yourself, is this actually true? Or is this just a story I heard over and accepted without question? It's time to reformat the hard drive of your mind. 2. Building an abundance mindset instead of a scarcity mindset. This is one of the biggest differences between wealthy people and everyone else. A scarcity mindset sees the world like a fixed-size pizza. If someone else takes a slice, there's less left for you. This way of thinking leads to constant competition, jealousy, fear of loss, and a feeling that nothing is ever enough. People with a scarcity mindset tend to cling tightly to what they have, refuse to share information or knowledge because they're afraid others will surpass them. They say things like, "There's no room left for me." "The market is saturated," or "Why is he successful and I'm not?" An abundance mindset, on the other hand, sees the world like a vast ocean full of fish. There's more than enough for everyone. In fact, you can even create new fish. This mindset is rooted in collaboration, creativity, generosity, and a belief in the limitless expansion of opportunities and resources. People with an abundance mindset focus on creating new value, spotting potential everywhere, and genuinely celebrating other people's success because they know someone else winning doesn't take away from their own success. It might even open the door to new inspiration or collaboration. Imagine you're at a buffet. Someone with a scarcity mindset rushes in, piles their plate as high as possible, worried the food will run out. They're afraid that if they don't grab everything now, there'll be nothing left. Someone with an abundance mindset. They walk in calmly, try a little bit of this and that, enjoy the moment, talk to people, and trust there's enough for everyone. And if one dish runs out, more food will come. To develop an abundance mindset, start with practicing gratitude. Every day, take a moment to think about what you already have, even the smallest things. Focus on creating value for others instead of obsessing over what you're getting. Celebrate the wins of the people around you. The more you give, the more you receive, because this universe operates on the principle of abundance, not scarcity. 3. Owning 100% responsibility for your financial situation. This is one of the most expensive lessons you'll ever learn, and it's also the real starting point of all change. It may sound harsh at first, but it's the door to your freedom. It's what breaks the chains of victimhood. Most of us are quick to blame when things don't go our way. When money is tight, we blame the bad economy, the government and its policies, the boss who won't give us a raise, parents who didn't leave us any inheritance, a lack of luck, not being born into a rich family, and on and on. The blame list never ends. The moment you blame anything outside of yourself, you put yourself in the role of a victim. And once you're the victim, you've handed over your power. You cannot change something you believe is completely outside your control. If the economy is the reason you're broke, then you'll stay broke until the economy magically gets better, which you have zero control over. That's hopeless, isn't it? But what happens if you decide to take 100% responsibility for your finances? That means your income, you own it. Your spending, you own it. Your debt, you own it. Your assets, you own them too. It doesn't mean you beat yourself up or drown in guilt. It means you clearly understand that you have the power to change things. If I am responsible for the fact that I'm struggling financially, then I also have the power to find a solution, to learn to take action, and to turn it around. Stop complaining. Stop blaming. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" start asking, "What can I do differently?" Instead of saying, "I can't ask, how can I?" When you take 100% responsibility, you'll realize you are the captain of your own ship. You can adjust the course, raise the sails, weather the storms, and eventually reach the shore of success. 4. Learning to see problems as businesses in disguise. This is the last point of Chapter 1, but it's one of the most powerful mindsets you can develop. Successful people don't run away from problems. They run toward them. They see problems not as walls, but as golden opportunities in disguise. Every great business in the world was born from solving a problem. Traffic in big cities is a nightmare. Master cabs aren't always available and commuting wastes tons of time. That's a problem. Then Uber and Lyft came along and turned that problem into billions of dollars in value. Searching for information online used to be messy and inefficient. That was a problem. Google stepped in, organized the world's information, and became a giant. Finding an affordable, convenient place to stay used to be stressful. That was a problem. Airbnb showed up and connected people with extra space to people who needed a place to stay. People who see problems as opportunities don't whine when they hit a challenge. They pause, observe, and analyze. Okay, this is a problem. Who is struggling with this? How big is the pain? How many people would be willing to pay to make this go away? And most importantly, what can I do to solve it? This mindset doesn't just apply to big startups. It works in your everyday life too. You notice a process at work that's super inefficient and wastes a lot of time. Instead of just complaining, think, how can I improve this? Can I create a tool, a piece of software, or a new system to fix this? Your friends are always complaining that they can't find a reliable pet sitter or dog walker they trust. That's a problem and a potential business idea. Start with the smallest problems around you. Train your eyes to become opportunity hunters. Whenever something feels annoying, inconvenient, or clearly not optimized, don't just scroll past it. Stop and ask, is this a problem I or someone else could solve? And if we solve it, would people value it enough to pay for it? So there you have it. Chapter 1. Change your mindset. The foundation of wealth doesn't require a fancy degree or huge amount of starting capital. It only asks one thing from you, a genuine willingness to look at and change the way you think about money and about yourself. Start this mindset shift today. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. Write down your negative beliefs about money and start questioning them. Practice daily gratitude to nurture an abundance mindset. Take 100% responsibility for your financial situation and ask, what can I do? And begin looking at every problem as a potential business opportunity. This is the most important step. Without this solid foundation, every financial strategy you learn later will be like building a house on sand. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, hit like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapters, and share your thoughts about your own money beliefs in the comments below. I'll see you in Chapter 2, where we'll dive into turning these mindsets into concrete actions. Wishing you abundance and prosperity. If Chapter 1 was all about the right mindset and the big picture, then in this Chapter 2 we're diving into something essential. Something so pivotal that if you don't break through it, every goal, every dream you have may forever remain just that, a dream. And that is, stop blaming, start doing. It sounds simple, right? Easy to understand, maybe even a little cliché. Everyone knows you shouldn't blame others. But actually absorbing it, turning it into a compass for every decision, every step you take, is something very few people ever do. And what's our goal today? To shift from the mindset of a victim of circumstance to the mindset of a creator of your own destiny. That sense of ownership, of choosing to act and choosing to be responsible, is the strongest engine pushing you forward. Be honest with yourself for a moment. Have you ever heard or told yourself things like, the economy's terrible right now. Who can even start a business in times like this? The government keeps changing policies every 5 minutes. How am I supposed to feel secure? Prices are rising like crazy. My paycheck barely covers anything. How am I supposed to survive? My family didn't have money. My parents couldn't give me a head start. That's why life is so hard for me. I wasn't born lucky. Some people get the silver spoon I got, the dirt spoon. Other people have connections. That's why they succeed. I don't have anyone. I'm not naturally talented. I'm not as smart as others. See it. The list goes on forever. And the scary part is, every time we say these excuses out loud or even silently in our heads, we're giving away our power. We're placing our future in the hands of someone else, in the hands of things outside our control. And when you believe the cause of your problems lies outside of you, then naturally the solution lives outside of you too. You become a helpless spectator in your own life, waiting for a miracle, waiting for someone to show up and fix things for you. But we all know fairy godmothers exist only in storybooks. So how do we break this cycle of blame and victimhood? The answer comes down to 2 things: the power of tiny decisions and consistent daily action. You don't need to flip your life upside down overnight. You don't need to quit your job in a grand gesture or sell everything to invest in some high-risk venture. What you need is this: every single day, make one small decision that moves you forward and follow through consistently. For example, instead of scrolling mindlessly for 30 minutes at night, spend 15 minutes reading a book on finance, personal development, or learning a new skill online. Instead of complaining about your low salary or your workplace, spend 15 to 30 minutes improving your skills, researching other industries, or connecting with someone who might open a new door. Instead of waiting to win the lottery, start saving $2 a day or $10 a week and learn how to invest small amounts steadily. Compound effect is the key. Like a tiny drop of water falling on the same spot, eventually it can carve through stone. Small actions repeated daily create massive transformation over time, exponential transformation. The important part is that you stay consistent and trust the process. But to begin these tiny decisions, sometimes the hardest part is simply finding that initial push, the momentum to escape inertia and that comfortable, familiar loop. Imagine a giant boulder sitting still. To move it, the first push requires the most force. But once it starts rolling, a much smaller effort can keep it going. That initial push is you stepping out of your comfort zone, confronting your own inertia, and accepting the risk of small failures. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to start. Sometimes the first push you need is as simple as sitting down and writing out 3 things you want to change about your financial life or career and committing to action right away. That action can be tiny: enrolling in an online course, sending one networking email, or reading for 15 minutes a day. Small steps like these send a signal to your brain that says, "We're changing." And from that moment, momentum begins to build. Let me tell you a true story about a woman named Mia. Mia was in her early 40s, working an ordinary office job in the US, making just enough to cover her monthly bills. Her life felt like a loop: work, go home, complain. She complained about her strict boss, her company having 0 opportunities for career growth, rising prices, her husband being distant, her kids being difficult. She felt like a victim of the entire world. Then one night, after a heated argument with her husband, exhausted and drained, she looked at herself in the mirror and asked, "How long am I going to live like this? What kind of mother do I want my kids to see?" And that was the turning point in her life. Mia realized something powerful. No matter how bad the environment around her was, she was still the only person who could change her life. Nobody was coming to save her. So she started with the smallest thing. Instead of complaining about her job, she enrolled in online courses, Google Analytics, advanced Excel, basic project management skills that matter in corporate America. She spent 30 minutes each night updating her resume, polishing her portfolio, and practicing video interviews. She read personal finance books, 50-30-20, budgeting, building an emergency fund, and basic ETF investing. She tracked her weekly expenses, cut back on her extra Starbucks runs, and began putting aside $200 a month into her savings. She didn't quit her job right away. She used her current job as a launch pad to build a new foundation. And then, something amazing happened. After 2 years of consistent small actions, Maya felt confident enough to apply to a bigger company, a major corporation she once believed she was not good enough for. And she got the job, with double her old salary. Not only that, she built a $10,000 emergency fund, started investing monthly into VTI and VOO, and most importantly, she became more confident, calmer, happier. Her relationships with her husband, her kids, her co-workers improved dramatically. Because when you shift your own energy, everything around you shifts too. Mia didn't have a miracle. She didn't find a shortcut. She didn't wait for a golden opportunity. She simply stopped blaming and started acting. She stepped out of the victim role and became the creator of her own life. And I believe if Mia could do it, so can you. The message of this chapter 2 is crystal clear. The cycle of blaming holds you back, traps you in stagnation and frustration. Your real power lies in taking responsibility and taking action no matter the circumstances. You may not control what happens to you: economic conditions, the government, luck, but you absolutely control how you respond, how you choose to act. That is ownership. That is courage. Right now, think of one thing you tend to blame on circumstances or on other people. And think of one small action you can take today to start changing that. Just one. Do it and feel that first push. Don't wait. Don't blame. Act. In Chapter 3, we'll dive into how to set clear financial goals and build a detailed step-by-step action plan to achieve them. You'll learn how to turn big dreams into measurable, achievable targets. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the upcoming chapters. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your stories in the comments below. See you in Chapter 3. Let's be honest with each other. Most of us grew up with a familiar story: study hard, get a good stable job, and work until retirement. And there's nothing wrong with that path. Millions of people have lived and are living full, happy lives that way. But if your goal is not just to get by, not just to be comfortable, but to become truly wealthy, to reach financial freedom, so your life is no longer controlled by trading time for money, then we need to look at a different path. One history has proven to be the most effective. That's the path of owning a money-making system, a business. So why a business and not just a high-paying job? To answer that, we need to clearly distinguish between three concepts that most people lump together: being an employee, being self-employed, and being a business owner. Let's break each one down. 1. Clearly distinguishing between being an employee, self-employed, and a business owner. Picture this. We'll use the image of a bicycle to make it easier. Employee employment. This is the path most of us have taken or are currently on. You're the one pedaling the bike. Maybe you're a pro cyclist with a great salary, a support team, and a top-of-the-line bike. Or maybe you're a delivery rider doing gigs on the side. Either way, you are the one physically pedaling. You trade your time, skills, and effort for a fixed salary or hourly wage. You get stability, or at least the feeling of stability benefits, insurance, maybe a retirement plan. But your ability to build breakthrough wealth is very limited. You will almost never become truly rich just by being an employee, no matter how good you are. Why? Because you don't own the bike or the race, you're just operating it. You don't control the track or the bigger direction of where things are going. Self-employed. Sounds more free, right? This is when you decide to buy your own bike design, your own route, and pedal for yourself. You don't work for anyone anymore. You open your own small clinic, a shop work as a freelance designer, writer, or independent consultant. You set your own prices, manage your own clients. On the surface, this looks like a big step up. You have more control, and you can potentially earn more per hour than as an employee. But look closer, you're still selling your time. You are still both the bike and the cyclist. If you stop pedaling, your income stops. You can't really take sick days without worrying about losing clients, and long vacations might mean losing income. You're not just the worker, you're also the manager, the marketer, the accountant. Everything in one person. You may have more freedom in choosing projects, but you're often more exhausted than a regular employee. This is the trap of self-employment. You might make more money, but you usually end up with less time and less real freedom. Business owner, business ownership. This is where the real magic happens. This is where the path to wealth opens up. Going back to the bike analogy, you don't just buy one bike. You build an entire factory that makes bikes. You hire engineers to design them, workers to assemble them, a marketing team, a sales team. You build a whole system that produces and sells bicycles. Your goal is not to sell your time to pedal. Your goal is to build a system that can run and create value, create money, even when you're not personally involved in every single step. You build the machine. You're not a single gear inside it. You can hire people to run the gears. You can use technology to automate processes. Think about a coffee chain. The owner is not the one standing behind the bar, making every cup. That's the employee. The owner also isn't the only barista. That's the self-employed person. The owner builds the brand, the systems, the processes, then hires managers and baristas, and opens multiple locations. That chain makes money even when the owner is sleeping or on vacation. Or a software company. The founder doesn't write every single line of code, even if they started that way. They create a platform, a product, then hire engineers, salespeople, marketing teams. The product is used by thousands, maybe millions of customers, generating recurring revenue. This is the core difference. As an employee or self-employed, you trade time for money. As a business owner, you build an asset that makes money for you. 2. Why scale and leverage in business are the keys to financial freedom. So what makes owning a business so powerful? The answer lies in two concepts. Every wealthy person understands deeply: scale and leverage. Scale. Imagine you're a tutor. In each session, you can only teach a limited number of students. You can't clone yourself to teach hundreds or thousands of people at once. That's the limit of no scale. Your income is capped by the hours you can physically work. But if you create a high-quality online course and record it once you do the work a single time, and thousands, even millions of students can buy and learn from it. Each time a new student enrolls, you earn money without putting in the same amount of extra time. That's scale. Digital products, software apps, and digital content like the video you're watching right now all have incredible scaling potential. You can reach a huge audience without being constrained by geography or time. This is how you break free from the 24-hour limit we all have. Leverage is the ability to achieve more with less effort by using resources beyond just your own. It's like using a lever to lift something heavy. One small force on one side can lift a huge weight on the other. Other people's time, OPT. When you hire employees or contractors, you're using leverage on their time. Instead of just your own 8 hours a day, 10 employees give you 80 hours a day of productive work. That's how a business can serve more customers and get more done than one person alone. Other people's money, OPM. This is when you raise capital from investors or borrow from banks to expand your business. You use their money to create bigger returns without having to front all the capital yourself. Technology, leverage, software, the internet, AI. All of these are powerful forms of leverage. A website can work 24/7, automating sales and customer service. Algorithms can analyze data thousands of times faster than a human, helping you make smarter decisions. Imagine an author who wants to publish a book. Instead of printing, distributing, and marketing it, alone self-employment, they sign with a publisher. Now they're leveraging the publisher's editor's marketing team and distribution network. The book reaches thousands or millions of readers without the author managing every single step. When you combine scale, serving many people, with leverage, using resources beyond just your own time and money, you create a money machine that can grow far beyond what any individual worker could ever produce alone. That's the key to financial freedom, when the passive income from your business covers all your living expenses and you no longer have to sell your time. It's time to survive. 3. First steps to starting a side business, side hustle, even while you're working full-time. Sounds exciting, right? But how do you actually start when you already have a full-time job? Don't worry, you don't have to quit your job tomorrow to become a business owner. Many successful entrepreneurs started with a side hustle, a small project on the side. I did the same thing myself. Here's how you can start step by step. Start small, think big. Don't try to build the next Amazon or Tesla overnight. Start with a small, testable idea. Your first goal is to learn experiment and see whether your idea actually solves a real problem in the market. Identify a problem you can solve that people are willing to pay for. This is the most important step. Look around you. What are your friends, coworkers, and family constantly complaining about? What skills, hobbies, or knowledge do you have that others would pay for? For example, building simple websites, teaching English basic nutrition coaching, social media content, writing, making unique handmade items, pet sitting. Is there a convenience or service you could provide that people clearly need but don't have enough good options for leverage existing skills or learn a new simple one? What are you already good at? Turn that into a service. If you're not sure yet, there are tons of online courses and free resources on YouTube, Coursera, Udemy, where you can learn a new skill in a few weeks or months. It doesn't have to be fancy sometimes. Something as simple as organizing closets can be a paid service. Validate your idea. Before pouring a lot of time and money into it, test it. Create a simple landing page describing your product service and see if anyone signs up or shows interest. Find your first 1-2 customers from your network and offer them a discounted rate in exchange for honest feedback. Ask people directly. The key question is anyone actually willing to pay for your solution? Schedule specific time. Treat your side hustle like a non-negotiable appointment. Block off 1-2 hours each evening or a few hours on weekends. The magic is in consistency. Consistency is key. Just 1 hour a day is 7 hours a week. That adds up fast. Focus on value creation. Don't obsess over making money immediately. Focus on truly helping people solving their problems well. Money tends to follow value. Don't chase perfection, just start. A lot of people get stuck in analysis paralysis, waiting until everything is perfect. Don't. Start with a minimum viable product MVP, something that's just good enough to launch and improve it based on real feedback. Action beats perfection. Example, you make amazing coffee. Instead of opening a full cafe right away, which is expensive and risky, you could start by brewing specialty coffee at home and selling it to coworkers and friends in the morning with a small mobile setup. Gather feedback, refine your recipes, and understand demand. If it works, you can think about selling online offering delivery or joining weekend markets. That's a potential side hustle. And one day maybe a beautiful little coffee chain. 4. The mindset of a business owner. Focus on solving problems for the market. Last, but definitely not least, the mindset of a business owner. This is the biggest difference between someone who just works and someone who builds lasting wealth. From what do I do to get paid to what problem can I solve for others? Employees usually ask, what tasks do I need to do to get my paycheck? Self-employed people ask, who can I sell my skills to so I can earn more? Business owners ask a totally different question. What problem exists in the market that I can solve and solve at scale? Wealth doesn't come from working hard alone. It comes from creating value for many people. The bigger the problem you solve, and the more people you solve it for, the higher your potential to become wealthy. Solution-oriented thinking. Business owners are always hunting for problems to solve. Every problem is a potential business. Traffic is a mess, Uber and Lyft. Hard to find information, Google. Hard to stay in touch with distant friends, Facebook. These problems can be tiny, like not finding a shirt that fits your style, or massive like clean energy. What matters is that you see them and start thinking about solutions, and then turn those solutions into reality. Value creation mindset. A successful business creates real value for its customers. Value might mean convenience, saving time, saving money, bringing joy, improving health, or solving a painful problem. When you focus on creating real value, money flows as a natural result. It's the outcome of serving the market well. Endless learning and adaptability. The business world changes constantly and faster than ever. A true business owner is always learning, testing, failing, and trying again. They're not afraid of change or calculated risks. Every failure becomes a lesson, not a final verdict. Responsibility mindset. You're the captain of the ship. In the end, success or failure comes down to you and your decisions. Own that. That responsibility is your greatest source of power as an entrepreneur. So that's it. The real power of owning a business isn't just about making more money. It's about building a machine, a system that can function without your constant presence. It gives you freedom, freedom of time, freedom of money, and the freedom to pursue what truly matters in your life. If you feel stuck in your current job, or you simply want a higher level of financial freedom, start thinking like a business owner now. Look at the world around you with new eyes, not to complain about problems, but to search for solutions. Starting a side hustle, no matter how small, is your first step into the world of entrepreneurship. Experiment, learn, and above all, take action. You don't need a $1 million idea on day one. You just need a real problem to solve, a bit of courage to begin, and a mindset that never stops learning. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into how to find and develop potential business ideas, how to turn the problems you see into golden opportunities. Don't miss it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. We're about to dive into a skill that many people might feel a little uncomfortable with, maybe even slightly biased against selling. The moment you hear sales, you might picture pushy salespeople, endless spam calls, or worse, sleazy tactics and scams. But I want you to set those images aside for now. Because if there is one skill you absolutely must master to become wealthy, it's this selling. In this chapter 4, titled Learning to Sell, the Survival Skill, we're going to completely change the way you look at it. Selling is not forcing someone to buy something they don't need. Selling is actually a process of serving, persuading, and solving problems for other people. Think of it as the art of connecting a need with a solution, and it's an art that anyone can learn. 1. Overcoming the fear of rejection. No is just part of the game. Let's start with the number one reason people freeze at the thought of selling: the fear of rejection. We've all been afraid of rejection, right? From asking someone out to requesting a raise to simply asking for directions, getting turned down can make us feel small, or worse, make us think we're not good enough. But I want you to change the way you see rejection. In sales, no is not a personal failure. It's simply part of the process. Think about it this way. Have you ever seen a baseball player cry every time they miss a hit? No. They just focus on the next swing. Or imagine a fisherman: do all fish bite the hook? Of course not. They keep adjusting, changing bait, moving to another spot. Every no is a lesson, a chance to better understand your customer's needs, your product, and how you communicate it. Maybe the customer isn't ready yet. Maybe your offer isn't right for them right now. Or maybe you haven't hit the right pain point. When you accept that no is as natural as breathing, it loses its power over you. Instead of shrinking back, you'll start asking yourself, why not? What can I improve next time? Don't see no as a slammed door. See it as an invitation to refine, reconnect, and try again. That's where growth starts. 2. The golden rule. Always focus on the customer's benefit and value. Once you overcome the fear of rejection, the next golden rule of successful selling, and the key to turning selling into an act of service, is this: always focus on the customer's benefit and value. The biggest mistake weak salespeople make is talking only about their product features, specs, technical details, all about them. My product has ABC. It's made with XYZ. The price is... That's not wrong, but it's not compelling. Great salespeople don't sell a drill. They sell the whole. It sounds funny, but think about it. People don't buy a drill because they love drills. They buy a drill because they want to hang their favorite picture, install a shelf, or finish a DIY project they've been excited about. They are buying the feeling of pride, convenience, or satisfaction, not the tool. When you sell, put yourself in the customer's shoes. What keeps them up at night? What problem are they struggling with? What do they desire? What does your product or service actually do for them? How does it make their life easier, better, or more efficient? Talk about them, what they will get. Not about you and what you want to sell. This isn't just a tactic, it's a mindset of service. When you genuinely want to help someone solve their problem, selling becomes natural, even enjoyable. 3. Sell with sincerity and build long-term relationships. So how do you sell sincerely without feeling like you're bothering people and without acting like a pushy salesperson? You do it by building trust. Selling is not a one-time transaction, especially today where customers have unlimited choices and information. Trust is everything. Become an expert in your field. Provide value before they buy anything. That could mean sharing useful information, giving honest advice, or even recommending a different solution if your product isn't the best fit. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but that's exactly what makes you stand out. Imagine going to a doctor. Would you prefer the one who pushes expensive prescriptions without listening? Or the one who takes time to understand your symptoms, explains your options, and gives thoughtful guidance? Obviously the second one. You'd trust them and you'd return. Authentic selling is about creating lifelong customers, not just one-time buyers. When people trust you, they not only return, they refer their friends, co-workers, and family. They become your unpaid ambassadors because they've experienced real value and sincerity from you. And that relationship is stronger than any marketing tactic. 4. Every wealthy person is an excellent salesperson, no matter what they sell. Finally, look at the richest and most successful people in the world. You'll notice something interesting. Every single one of them is an exceptional salesperson. And they're not just selling physical products. Steve Jobs didn't just sell computers. He sold a vision of a beautifully designed, intuitive future of technology. Elon Musk doesn't just sell electric cars or rockets. He sells humanity's future sustainable energy and multiplanetary life. Oprah Winfrey doesn't sell a specific product. She sells stories, connection, inspiration, a voice that resonates with millions of women. Every successful entrepreneur is a brilliant salesperson. They must sell their idea to investors to get funding, sell their vision to their team so they buy in, and finally sell their products and services to customers. Even if you're an employee, you're selling. You're selling your skills to your boss when you want a promotion. You're selling your ideas in meetings to get your projects approved. A scientist must sell their research idea to funding boards. An artist must sell their art to the public. Selling isn't just for people with sales in their job title. It's a survival skill for anyone who wants to create value and be recognized for that value. To achieve any major goal, whether it's landing your dream job, building a happy family, starting a business, or becoming wealthy, you need the ability to persuade, communicate, and articulate value. In other words, you need to sell. So there you have it. Selling is not something to avoid or resent. It's a superpower, the key to turning ideas into reality and value into income. Remember, overcome the fear of rejection. No is just part of the process. Always focus on the benefits and value you bring to the customer. Sell with sincerity and build relationships based on trust. And recognize that every successful, wealthy person is a master seller, whether they sell products, services, or ideas. Start practicing this skill today. Begin by listening more, asking more questions, and looking for ways to serve more. When you shift your mindset about selling, you open a whole new door to prosperity. In the next chapter, we'll explore another equally important part of your wealth-building journey: smart, effective personal finance management. We're now stepping into a chapter that I personally believe is the key to shifting from being a hard worker to being a true wealth builder. Chapter 5. The Art of Leverage. It sounds big and dramatic, right? But in reality, it's much simpler than you think. Picture a kid trying to move a big rock. There's no way they can do it with brute strength alone. But if that kid finds a long bar and a solid pivot point, they can use leverage to lift that rock much more easily. In money and business, leverage works the same way. It's how we use a small amount of effort or resources to create a much bigger result. There's a quote I really love: "No one becomes truly wealthy by relying only on their own effort." That might sound like it goes against the idea of do everything yourself that many of us grew up with, but it's true. The wealthiest people in the world don't do everything alone. They understand and master the art of leverage. And today we're going to break down the 3 main types of leverage they use to multiply their results. 1. Time leverage. The power of other people's time. OPT, other people's time. First, let's talk about time leverage. Our time is limited, right? We each only get 24 hours in a day, and you can't work all 24 of them. So how do you get more done? Create more value in the same amount of time? The answer is, you hire and work with other people. This isn't just about hiring someone to do the tasks you don't like. It's about freeing your own time from tasks that can be delegated, so you can focus on higher value work, the things only you can do, or the things you do best. For example, let's say you're a small business owner. Instead of spending hours answering customer emails, handling invoices, or posting on social media, you can hire a virtual assistant, a freelancer, or a part-time employee. They might handle those tasks faster and more efficiently, and at a lower cost than if you did it yourself, because your time is worth more when it's focused on strategy growth and core value creation. Think about it this way. If you spend 8 hours on task X and create value Y, that's one person's effort. But if you hire 3 other people, and each of them works 8 hours on task X, you now have 24 hours of work getting done in a single day, and you've created 3Y in value. That's the power of time leverage. I use this a lot personally. For this YouTube channel to run smoothly, I have a team that helps with video editing, thumbnail design, and community management. That allows me to focus on researching writing scripts and delivering the content to you, things I believe I'm best at. And that create the core value of this channel. 2. Money leverage. Using other people's money the smart way, OPM. Other people's money. Second, we have money leverage, OPM, or other people's money. This is a concept many people feel nervous about because they associate it with debt. But wealthy people understand that not all debt is bad. Smart debt used to invest and generate returns higher than the borrowing cost is an incredibly powerful form of leverage. Let's say you have $20,000 in savings. You could invest that on your own. But suppose you find a great business opportunity, for example, a small real estate deal worth $200,000. Clearly, $20,000 isn't enough to buy it outright. That's where OPM, other people's money, comes in, angel investors, partners, or a bank. In the U.S. business world, this is extremely common. For example, a real estate developer in Texas is not going to use 100% of their own cash to buy land and build homes. They might put in just 10 to 20% of the total cost, say $20,000 to $40,000 for a $200,000 project. The rest, they borrow from a bank mortgage or construction loan. They raise capital from limited partners. They bring in private investors. With a relatively small amount of their own money, they control an asset worth 5 to 10 times more than their cash. And here's the interesting part. If the project does well, the profit is calculated on the full $200,000 value, not just on the $20,000 they put in. That's why real estate investors, startup founders, and entrepreneurs in America can accelerate their wealth much faster than people who only ever use their own savings. But, and this is extremely important, OPM is not a lottery ticket. It requires real financial knowledge, risk management skills, a clear business plan, a realistic profit model, and strict discipline and responsibility with the money you're using. Using OPM to invest in income-producing assets like rental properties, cash-flowing businesses, value-add projects, or a startup with a solid model can help you double or triple your net worth. But using OPM to buy luxury cars, fund a flashy lifestyle live above your means, or invest in things you don't understand is the fastest way to debt bankruptcy and collapse. OPM is a form of leverage, and leverage is only helpful when you use it at the right time for the right purpose with the right strategy. When you do it right, it builds wealth many times faster. When you do it wrong, it becomes a double-edged sword. 3. Technology and systems leverage scaling without limits. And finally, we have technology and systems. This is the kind of leverage our generation is incredibly lucky to have and to scale like never before. Technology allows you to do something once and get results again and again, sometimes infinitely. Think about software, an app, an online course, or even a YouTube video like the one you're watching now. I spend time researching, writing, and recording this video once. After that, it can be watched by hundreds of thousands, even millions of people, without any extra effort from me. That's the power of technology leverage. An automated marketing funnel, an e-commerce platform, a trading algorithm. These are all great examples. They allow you to scale your business, reach a global market, and operate 24/7 without a human being manually handling every step. For example, a programmer creates a mobile app. Once it's built, that app can be downloaded by millions of users and generate ongoing revenue without the programmer needing to work individually for each user. That's the fundamental difference between selling your time being an employee and selling a product or system using leverage. 4. The risks you need to be aware of and how to manage them. Sounds amazing, right? But like any powerful tool, leverage comes with risk. Time leverage, OPT. The risk is poor management delegating to the wrong people or losing control over quality. If you hire people who are unreliable or unskilled, you can waste both your time and your money. Money leverage, OPM. This is the sharpest double-edged sword. If your investment doesn't perform as expected, you're still on the hook for the debt interest and potentially losing your assets. This risk is especially high in volatile markets. Technology and systems leverage. Technology can become outdated. Systems can fail and competitors can show up with something faster, better, or cheaper. Upfront investment into tech can also be expensive and may not always pay off as planned. So how do we manage these risks? 1. Learn and research thoroughly. Before using any type of leverage, make sure you understand exactly how it works and what could go wrong. 2. Start small, test, and adjust. Don't go all in from day one. Don't pour every dollar into one idea or hand off everything all at once. Test on a small scale. Learn from mistakes, then scale up gradually. 3. Build a trustworthy team. With OPT, choosing the right people is critical. Invest time into hiring, training, and retaining talented, reliable team members. 4. Always have a backup plan. With OPM, make sure you have an emergency fund or plan B in case things don't go as expected. Never bet everything on a single deal. 5. Stay updated and keep evolving. With tech leverage, the world moves fast. Keep learning, adapting, and be willing to upgrade or pivot so you don't get left behind. Leverage is not a trick and not a shortcut to easy money. It's a fundamental principle that the most successful people have used throughout history. It's what allows you to escape the limits of your own time and energy so you can create a bigger impact, reach more people, and multiply your value. If you want to become wealthy, you must learn how to use leverage. Look around your own life. Where can you start applying it? What tasks can you delegate to free up time for bigger goals? What smart capital could you raise to develop your ideas? And how can technology help you scale what you do? Think about that, and I truly believe the door to wealth will start to feel much closer than before. In the next chapter, we'll dive into another equally important piece of the puzzle: the art of building a powerful network. Don't miss it. If you've been following along from the beginning, you've probably noticed that this journey isn't just about money. It's about mindset, building value, and living a life with intention. And today, we're diving into a chapter that I'm especially passionate about, one skill that doesn't just help you earn more and save more, but completely transforms the way you interact with the world around you. Chapter 6. Negotiating for everything you want. It sounds a bit grand at first, right? Everything you want. But trust me, negotiation isn't just something business executives in suits do behind closed doors signing million-dollar contracts. No, negotiation is a part of everyday life. From deciding where to eat with friends, to buying something on sale, to negotiating your salary, or even figuring out household chores with family members, negotiation is everywhere. And once you master this skill, you'll find yourself holding a powerful tool to shape your life in the direction you want. The goal of this chapter is to give you the core principles and mindset that will make you far more confident whenever you step into any negotiation, big or small. Let's break them down one by one. 1. The most important principle. Always be willing to walk away. If there's only one thing you remember from this chapter, let it be this: walk away power. This isn't about threats. It's not about arrogance. It's about self-control, the ultimate confidence. It means you have a solid backup plan, or at the very least, you are willing to walk away if the deal isn't right for you. Picture this: you're shopping for a car. You find one you really like, but the salesperson gives you a price that's way too high. If you feel like you have to get this exact car because you don't have time or you have no alternative, then you're negotiating from a weak position. But if you've checked out other cars, you know the market price, and you're completely fine walking away, suddenly the power shifts straight into your hands. You can say, "Thanks, but that number doesn't work for me. I'm going to look elsewhere." That is walkaway power. It doesn't mean you're rude. It means you know you're worth your time and your money. Not every deal is good for you. And sometimes the best deal is no deal at all. So how do you develop walkaway power? Always have a BATNA, best alternative, to a negotiated agreement before entering any negotiation. Ask yourself, if this doesn't work out, what's my plan B? The more alternatives you have, the stronger you are. Increase your value. Negotiating salary, build skills the market needs. Selling a product. Make sure it actually solves a real problem. Remove emotions from the negotiation. Desperation, attachment, and overexcitement kill your leverage. Stay objective. Walkaway power removes pressure. It helps you think clearly and make smarter decisions. 2. Prepare thoroughly. Always know your value and your goals. This principle might sound obvious, but it's one of the most commonly neglected. You cannot negotiate effectively if you don't know what you want and what the other side wants. Preparation doesn't just build confidence. It arms you with the data you need. Before stepping into any negotiation, whether you're buying furniture on Craigslist or reviewing a major contract, take time to define your goals clearly. What do you want? What's your ideal outcome? What's your lowest acceptable outcome? Your red line. Know your value or the value of what you're negotiating. If you're negotiating salary, research market rates for your role and experience. If you're selling something, understand exactly what benefits it provides. Data is your secret weapon. Research the other side. Who are you negotiating with? What pressures, goals, or constraints do they have? Do they have walkaway power? Understanding their motivations helps you find common ground. List key discussion points and questions. Prepare open-ended questions to gather information. Preparation isn't about memorizing a script. It's about equipping yourself with knowledge and flexibility. It turns you from someone who hopes into someone who plans, and that's a huge shift. 3. Look for win-win solutions to build long-term partnerships. A big misconception is that negotiation is a battle one winner, one loser. But the best negotiators see negotiation as an opportunity to build relationships and find solutions where both sides feel satisfied, or at least comfortable. That's the essence of win-win. When you enter a negotiation with a win-win mindset, you're not just thinking about what you want. You're looking to understand what they want and how to create an outcome where both sides benefit. How do you do that? Active listening. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Listen to what they say and what they don't say. Sometimes their true needs aren't about money, but convenience, recognition, flexibility, or long-term stability. Ask open-ended questions instead of, "Will you take X?" Ask, "What's most important to you in this deal?" Or, "Is there anything I can offer that would make this work better for you?" Expand the pie. Instead of fighting over a fixed slice like price, think of adding new elements, more service, better terms, flexible deadlines, extended warranty, bundled value. Things that might be inexpensive for you, but valuable to them. Focus on shared interests. Long-term partnerships often produce far more value than short-term wins. Win-win negotiating builds trust and opens doors. When people enjoy negotiating with you, future opportunities naturally follow. 4. Practice negotiation in everyday situations to build confidence. Like any skill, negotiation gets better through practice. You can't become an Olympic swimmer just by reading about swimming, right? Same idea here. You won't become a great negotiator without actually negotiating. And the good news, everyday life gives you endless chances to practice. When shopping, ask for a discount on clothes, electronics, or even at a flea market. You'd be amazed how often simply asking, "Is there any room for flexibility on this price?" actually works. At restaurants or coffee shops, ask to swap sides, change toppings, or check for promotions. In personal relationships, negotiate chores schedules or which movie to watch. These small negotiations help you practice listening, explaining, and collaborating. Planning trips, negotiate budget destinations or plans with friends or family. Every attempt teaches you something: how to read body language, how to stay calm, how to present your case, and how to handle no without fear. The point isn't to win every time. The point is to practice. Start small and make negotiation a habit. The more you do it, the more confident, adaptable, and sharp you'll become. And one day when a big negotiation arrives, you'll be ready. Negotiation isn't a trick or manipulation. It's an art of communication, understanding people, and creating value. By applying these 4 principles, walk-away power, strong preparation, win-win thinking, and constant practice, You'll not only get more of what you want, but you'll also build stronger, richer relationships. Start viewing every interaction as an opportunity to negotiate. Believe in your value. And remember, people will listen to you when you know how to present what you want wisely. Thank you for listening. Share your negotiation stories in the comments or a moment where you successfully used one of these principles. See you in the next chapter. Welcome back to our special video series on the journey of building wealth inspired by the classic book, How to Get Rich. We've already explored mindset, how to create value, and how to make money flow into your pocket. Sounds exciting, right? Make money and make a lot of it. But there's a harsh truth that many wealthy people have learned the hard way, and it's an expensive lesson for a lot of others too. Making a lot of money is meaningless if you can't keep it and grow it. It's like pouring water into a leaky bucket. No matter how fast you pour it, keeps draining out. And that's what we're talking about in Chapter 7, Iron Discipline in Personal Finance. This is not some dry lecture on accounting. It's about life or death principles and habits that help you build a rock-solid financial foundation so that money becomes a hard-working employee for you, instead of something that constantly slips through your fingers. Financial discipline isn't punishment. It's the key that unlocks long-term freedom. Let's jump in. 1. The golden rule. Pay yourself first the moment you get paid. It sounds almost too simple, right? Pay yourself first. You might think I already pay for myself. I spend money on me. But no, that's not what I mean here. The golden rule, or what I like to call the guiding compass of wealthy people, is this: the moment money hits your account, whether it's your paycheck, business income, or any type of inflow, take a fixed percentage, maybe 5%, 10%, or 20%, depending on your situation, and move it straight into your savings or investment account. Immediately, before you pay the electric bill, the rent, the Wi-Fi, before you shop, eat out, or order anything online. Why? Think about it. You pay the electric company, your landlord, your internet provider, your favorite coffee shop. You pay everyone. So why wouldn't you pay your future self first? Why wouldn't you prioritize your own long-term security and wealth? This habit is incredibly powerful. It kills procrastination. If you wait until the end of the month to see what's left, trust me, there's usually not much left. Money has a way of finding places to go. By paying yourself first, you turn saving and investing into a non-negotiable expense, just like any other bill. Your brain will naturally adapt and figure out how to live on what's left. The best way to do this is to automate it. Set up an automatic transfer on payday. It's like a future tax you choose to charge yourself. Even if it's a small amount at first, over time, with the magic of compound interest, you'll be amazed. This is the first foundation of financial discipline. 2. Clearly separate assets. Things that put money in your pocket and liabilities. Things that take money out of your pocket. This is one of the most important lessons I've learned from financial mentors, especially from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It sounds technical, but it's actually simple, and it can completely change how you see money. Remember this little mantra: assets put money into your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. That's it. Let's take an example. Your own home, the one you live in, that you either financed with a mortgage or bought in cash. Is it an asset? Most people will proudly say, "Of course, it's my biggest asset." But if you live in it and every month you're paying the mortgage, property taxes, maintenance, utilities, it's constantly pulling money out of your pocket. So in practice, it's functioning as a liability. On the other hand, if you buy a property and rent it out, and after all expenses are paid, money flows into your pocket every month, that's an asset. Same with cars. A brand new shiny car that you finance to commute and go out on weekends. It takes money out of your pocket every month. Car payment, gas, insurance, repairs, depreciation. That's a liability. But if you buy a used car in good condition and use it to drive Uber, deliver groceries, or run a small business that brings in income, then that car becomes an asset. The difference between the wealthy and the poor middle class is this. The wealthy focus on acquiring assets. They use their money to buy things that make more money, or at least hold their value instead of draining cash. The poor and middle class often get trapped in the liability cycle. They buy expensive stuff to look successful or to satisfy short-term desires and end up working harder just to keep paying for those things. So next time you're about to make a big purchase, ask yourself, is this going to put money into my pocket or take money out of it? That simple question alone can save you from a lot of financial regret. 3. Build and maintain an emergency fund as your financial safety cushion. Life is full of plot twists, right? One day you might lose your job. Your car breaks down out of nowhere. A family member gets sick. Or a once-in-a-lifetime investment opportunity appears, but you don't have any cash ready. That's where your emergency fund comes in. An emergency fund is not for shopping or speculative investing. It's a financial safety net, a self-funded insurance to help you ride out tough times without falling deep into debt or being forced to sell valuable assets for cheap. The ideal goal is to have 3 to 6 months' worth of essential living expenses set aside. For example, if your basic monthly expenses, rent, food, transportation, utilities, essentials are $2,000, then your emergency fund goal should be somewhere between $6,000 and $12,000. Sounds like a lot, right? But think about the peace of mind it gives you. When you have an emergency fund, you don't live in constant fear of something going wrong. You can make calmer, smarter decisions instead of panicking. Where should you keep this money? It needs to be accessible in an emergency, so not locked into investments that are hard to withdraw, but not so easy to touch that you're tempted to spend it. A great option is a separate high-yield savings account without a debit card attached. Don't mix it with your daily spending account. Building your emergency fund should be your top priority right after you start paying yourself first with a small percentage. Think of it as one of the first solid bricks in the wall of your financial fortress. 4. Use simple tools to track your income and expenses and control cash flow. You can't manage what you don't measure. This is true in business and even more true in personal finance. If you don't know where your money is going, how can you control it? How can you fix the leaks if you don't even know where the bucket is cracked? This doesn't mean you need to become a professional accountant or use complicated software. Not at all. Tracking your money can be surprisingly simple. You can start with a basic notebook. Write down every expense and income daily. Coffee, lunch subscriptions, big bills, everything. A simple spreadsheet. Create columns for date, description, income, expense category, food, transport, entertainment bills, etc. Use simple formulas to total things up. Personal finance apps. There are tons of free and paid apps with user-friendly interfaces that categorize your spending and give you clear reports. In the US, people often use apps like Mint. You need a budget or every dollar. The goal is not perfection. The goal is clarity. Once you see where your money actually goes, you can finally make real decisions. You might realize you're spending way too much eating out, or that you're paying for subscriptions you don't even use. This is like having a map and a compass. You know where you are and where you're heading. That gives you power, the power to tell your money what to do, instead of your money controlling you. Spend 5 to 10 minutes a day or once a week reviewing your spending. Consistency matters more than complexity. So we've walked through the 4 key pillars of iron discipline in personal finance. 1. Pay yourself first. Prioritize your financial future above all other expenses. 2. Know the difference between assets and liabilities. Use money to buy things that put money back into your pocket. 3. Build an emergency fund. Create a solid safety net for life's unexpected events. 4. Track your cash flow. Know where your money goes so you can make smarter decisions. Making money is hard. Keeping it and growing it is even harder. But it's absolutely possible. Discipline is not a cage. It's the key to financial freedom, the kind of freedom where you control your life and you're able to chase big dreams without being crushed by money stress. Start today, one step at a time. You've got this. Welcome back, everyone, to the How to Get Rich series, where wealth isn't just about money, but a journey of discovering yourself and the world around you. We've talked about mindset strategy, money management, but today, in Chapter 8, building a high-quality network, we're going deep into a type of asset most people forget about or seriously underestimate, even though it's one of the most powerful pillars you can ever build. And that is relationships. Personally, after years of working across different fields, I've realized this money can come and go. Skills can be learned and improved, but high-quality relationships shape your vision and open doors you never even knew existed. The people you spend time with, the circle you choose to step into, will determine who you become, how you see the world, and how far you'll go. That's not an exaggeration. It's reality. So how do you build a network that's not just wide, but deep and solid? Let's walk through 4 core principles together. 1. The give first receive, later principle in building relationships. This is the very first cornerstone and a principle I believe everyone should carve into their mind. It can sound cliché at first, but think a little deeper. When you approach a relationship with the mindset, what can I get from this person? You've already turned it into a transaction. And transactions are usually short-term, cold, and lack real sincerity. Instead, ask yourself, how can I help this person? What value can I bring to them? For example, you meet someone you admire in their field. Instead of immediately asking them for a favor, a job, or advice, take a step back and try to figure out what they're working on or struggling with, and whether you have any knowledge, skills, or resources that might be useful to them. Maybe you have an article they genuinely find interesting, a connection to someone they've been trying to reach, or simply an encouraging message when they share a challenge they're facing. This is not about manipulation or planting seeds just to harvest something right away. It's about building an emotional bank account where you consistently deposit kindness, value, and genuine care. And believe me, the universe has a funny way of paying you back often when you least expect it, and from people or places you never saw coming. Most importantly, when you give without expectations, you build trust and goodwill, the 2 most valuable currencies in any long-term relationship. A real relationship is a 2-way street, and you should be the one willing to lay down the first brick. 2. Intentionally seek out and connect with successful, positive-minded people. One of my favorite quotes is, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." It sounds harsh, but it reflects a truth. You can't really escape your environment, and the people around you shape who you are. If you want to level up, think bigger, and take bolder action, you need to intentionally seek out people who are already doing that. Successful here isn't just about how much money they make. It could be people who are successful in how they manage their time, how they handle failure, how they inspire others, how they live a healthy, positive lifestyle. Most importantly, they need to have a positive mindset. Stay away from people who constantly complain, always see the negative side of everything, or keep trying to pull you down. So where do you find these people? They're not going to show up at your door. Be proactive. Attend conferences, workshops, or industry events you're genuinely interested in. Join clubs, masterminds, or communities online and offline that match your goals and values. Ask trusted friends or mentors for introductions. Read their books, Watch their interviews, follow them on social media, and sometimes a thoughtful, sincere message on LinkedIn or via email can open a door. When you reach out, come with a mindset of learning, listening, and respecting their time. Don't just think, what can they do for me? Go back to principle number 1. What value can I bring to them, or what can I learn from them so I can grow on my own? Successful people are busy, but they deeply respect driven people who are genuine and know how to build relationships the right way. 3. How to become a person of value within your network. Okay, so you've been reaching out and connecting. But how do you actually become a valuable part of your network? Someone people remember, trust, and want to keep around. This is where you focus on building your personal brand, not in a flashy, fake way, but as a reputation for reliability and real value. To become someone of value, you need to constantly upgrade yourself and live out traits like reliability. Keep your promises. If you say you'll do something, do it. If you can't let people know early and explain honestly, reliability is the foundation of every long-term relationship. Problem solver. When people hit a wall, do they think of you as someone who might have an answer or at least a good direction to suggest? Equip yourself with knowledge, skills, and critical thinking so you can actually help. Connector. Sometimes the biggest value you bring is introducing two people who can help each other. Be that smart, sincere bridge. Active listener. Everyone loves to be heard. Learn to really listen, ask meaningful questions, and remember important details about others. Positive energy. People naturally gravitate toward those who are optimistic, encouraging, and uplifting. Be the sunshine in your circle, not the storm cloud, always learning and growing. A person of value is someone who is always evolving. The more you learn, the more insight, stories, and tools you can share with others. Remember, your value isn't defined by the number in your bank account, but by what you can contribute to others and to the community. When you consistently increase your own value, you not only attract better relationships, you also strengthen your role in the network you already have. 4. Stay away from toxic relationships and people who drag you down. This is the last point, but it's incredibly important, almost life or death important for your growth. Just like plants need sunlight and healthy soil to thrive, we need a healthy social environment. Toxic relationships are like parasites. They drain your energy, your spirit, and even your belief in yourself. So what do toxic people often look like? Chronic complainers. They always see problems, never solutions. They love to talk about how hard everything is, but refuse to take action. Constant critics. They put you down, dismiss your ideas, and mock your dreams. Your success makes them feel inferior, so they try to pull you back to their level. Energy vampires. Every time you talk to them, you leave feeling drained, heavy, and negative. Users. They only show up when they need help and disappear when you're the one struggling. Walking away from these relationships isn't selfish. It's essential self-defense for your mental health and your future. Sometimes cutting off a toxic person, no matter how hard it feels, is the bravest and smartest move you can make. How do you create that distance? Set boundaries. Learn to say no politely but firmly. Limit contact. Gradually reduce the time and energy you spend on them. Seek support. Talk to friends, mentors, or people you trust about what you're going through. Focus on yourself. Pour your energy into personal growth and into building positive, uplifting relationships. Remember, your time and energy are limited. Don't waste them on people who don't deserve them. Save them for those who inspire support and grow with you. So there you have it. Chapter 8. Building a high-quality network has given us a deeper look at just how important relationships really are. From giving first without expecting immediate returns, intentionally seeking out inspiring, growth-minded people, becoming a person of real value, to firmly distancing yourself from toxic influences. Start building your network today intentionally and authentically. Money can build assets, but it's high-quality relationships that build a truly rich life, rich in both material success and emotional fulfillment. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapters. I'll see you in Chapter 9, where we'll dive into another crucial piece of the wealth-building puzzle. If you've been with me through the previous chapters, you've probably started to notice the mindset differences between the wealthy and the majority. And today we're diving into a topic that, let's be honest, is the biggest fear for most people: failure. Are you afraid of failing? Most of us are. The fear of being judged and the fear of losing something, the fear of having to start all over again. That fear can be so overwhelming that it paralyzes us and keeps us from taking action. But if you want to become wealthy and successful, you must learn to live with failure. Better yet, become friends with it. Because as the title of this chapter says, treat failure as your teacher. The wealthy aren't afraid of failure. They learn from it, bounce back faster, and grow stronger each time. Failure isn't the end. It's tuition for success. Let's explore why. 1. Redefining failure. Not an ending, but data and lessons. Let's start by completely changing how we look at failure. For most people, failure feels like a slap in the face, proof that I'm not good enough, confirmation that they've made some fatal mistake. But to the wealthy and the truly successful, failure is simply data. Imagine you're using GPS to get to a new place. If you take a wrong turn, does the GPS scream failure? You idiot, of course not. It calmly says you've gone off route. Recalculating, then it gives you a new direction. That's exactly what failure is. It's feedback. It's information telling you the method you used didn't work. It's not a judgment of your worth. It's not the end of your journey. It's an expensive but valuable lesson pointing you toward a better path. Think like a scientist. A scientist never calls an unsuccessful experiment a failure. It's simply a result. It's data. From that result, they learn what doesn't work. Then they adjust the hypothesis, change a variable, and try again. This is the mindset we need to apply to business and life. 2. Stories of some of the toughest teachers you'll ever meet. Do you think the richest and most successful people in the world have never failed? Absolutely not. In fact, many of them have gone through failures so brutal that the average person would have quit on the spot. Steve Jobs. One of the most famous examples, he was fired from the very company he created, Apple. What looked like a humiliating defeat actually became the turning point. During that time, he built Next and Pixar, 2 companies that taught him priceless lessons and eventually brought him back to Apple, where he reshaped the entire future of technology. Without that failure, we might never have had the iPhone or iPad. Walt Disney. Before building a multi-billion-dollar entertainment empire, Disney went bankrupt, was denied loans by multiple banks, and was even fired by an editor for having no imagination. He had to sell his beloved car just to survive. But he never stopped believing in his vision. He adjusted, learned, and kept going. And now millions of people dream of visiting the world he created. Elon Musk. Even Musk wasn't spared. SpaceX's first rockets exploded repeatedly. Each explosion burned millions of dollars and pushed the company to the brink of bankruptcy. Tesla also struggled with endless production and logistics problems. But Musk and his team analyzed every failure, learned from each explosion, each glitch, and eventually rewrote the future of both space travel and electric cars. These aren't rare exceptions. They're proof that failure is part of the path. The real question isn't will you fail, it's what will you do after you fail. 3. A practical method to analyze failure and extract lessons. Saying learn from failure is easy. Doing it the right way is another story. Here's a process the successful often use. 1. Accept it and stay calm. Don't let anger, shame, or frustration take over. Accept what happened. Take a breath. Look at it objectively. 2. Do a post-mortem. Treat failure like a case study that needs dissecting. What exactly happened? Describe the event clearly. Why did it happen? Identify the root cause, not just the symptoms. Was it lack of information, wrong assumptions, emotional decisions, an unexpected external factor? What was within my control? Critical point. Don't blame things you had no influence over. Focus on what you decided or didn't do. What could I have done differently if you could redo it? What would you change? Your strategy, preparation attitude, or information gathering? 3. Document the lessons. Don't let the pain go to waste. Write down what you learned. Turn it into principles you'll use going forward. For example, before investing in X, thoroughly research Y and Z. Never make major decisions when emotional. 4. Adjust and take action. With the lessons in hand, revise your plan. Use failure as a blueprint to avoid repeating the same mistake. Remember, the goal isn't to avoid failing altogether. The goal is to never fail the same way twice. 4. Build resilience to face future challenges. No matter how well you analyze, failure challenges will keep coming. You will stumble again. That's why building resilience, the ability to bounce back, is essential for success. Resilience isn't innate. It's a muscle you build. How? Develop a growth mindset. Instead of saying, I can't do this, say I can't do this yet. Believe that skills and intelligence can grow through effort and practice. Take care of yourself. Physical and mental health are the foundation of resilience. Sleep well. Eat clean. Exercise regularly. A strong body and clear mind help you handle stress better. Build a support system. Don't fight alone. Friends, family mentors, and they can be your launching pad when you fall. Sometimes one conversation can change everything. Learn stress management, meditation, breathing exercises, hobbies, anything that helps you stay grounded when pressure hits. Celebrate small wins. Big goals can be overwhelming. Celebrating tiny victories builds momentum and confidence. See challenges as opportunities. Instead of seeing obstacles, try seeing opportunities to learn, grow, and innovate. And there it is. Failure is not the enemy. It's your most powerful teacher on the road to wealth and success. It's data. It's insight. It's tuition for mastery. Don't fear it. Face it. Study it. Grow from it. And build the resilience to rise faster every time you fall. Because those scars, those marks from every setback, will eventually become the proof of your persistence, your wisdom, and your unstoppable hunger for the life you truly want. In the next chapter, we'll talk about another essential piece of the puzzle: the power of focus and eliminating distractions. See you there. We've already gone through so many secrets together. From defining value, building a business, managing your personal finances, all the way to finding your competitive edge. But today, we're going to unlock a secret that I truly believe, once you really understand and apply, it will change the game for you forever. This is the final secret, but probably the most important one if you want to build generational wealth and create a legacy not just for yourself, but for your children and grandchildren. We're talking about Chapter 10, Reinvesting and the Power of Compound Interest. Let me start with a simple image you may have heard before, but its meaning goes much deeper than it seems. Imagine a tiny snowball, just a small handful of snow sitting at the top of a gentle hill. At first, when you give it a little push, it rolls slowly. It picks up a few flakes here and there, gets slightly bigger, but nothing dramatic. But it keeps rolling. The more it rolls, the more snow it gathers. As it grows, its surface area gets bigger too, which means with every turn it can collect more snow faster. Over time, its size doesn't just increase, it multiplies. Eventually, that tiny little snowball becomes a massive snow boulder, powerful enough to knock over anything in its path. That is the most vivid real-life image of the power of compound interest. In the world of finance, compound interest means your money doesn't just earn interest, your interest starts earning interest too. In other words, you make money on your money, and then you make money on the money your money made. It's not just addition, it's multiplication. It's like a self-feeding machine that once you turn it on can keep growing on its own. Sounds huge, almost like some kind of magic trick, right? But here's the best part, you don't need a giant snowball to begin. You just need that tiny first handful of snow. This brings us to the second key point. The book wants us to tattoo into our minds the importance of starting early, even with a small amount. Time is compound interest's best friend. Honestly, I'd even say time is the fuel of the compounding machine. Someone who starts saving and investing just $100 a month at age 20 can end up with far more money than someone who starts investing $200 a month at age 30, assuming the same rate of return. The only difference: the first person gave their snowball an extra 10 years to roll. Those 10 years don't just produce interest on the money you put in. They also produce interest on the interest that was generated during those 10 years. That's an advantage you simply cannot catch up to later just by throwing in more money. Think about it this way. If you wait until you have a big chunk of money or some perfect starting capital, you are wasting your most valuable resource, time. You're denying your snowball thousands of extra turns down the hill. Never underestimate the power of a small beginning. A giant oak tree starts from a tiny acorn. So how do we speed up the rolling of our snowball so it grows even faster? That's our third key point. Reinvesting your profits back into your business and other income-producing channels to accelerate growth. Imagine you have a small business and after a year of hard work, you make a profit. Now you stand at a crossroads. Option 1. You pull all that profit out and spend it new car vacations, fancy dinners. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the fruits of your labor. But if your goal is to build generational wealth, you need to choose option 2, reinvest. Instead of withdrawing everything, use part, or even all of that profit to scale the business. Open another location, invest in better equipment, hire great talent. That allows your business to generate even more profit in the future. Develop new products or services. Invest in R&D to create new value for your customers and expand your market. Diversify your investments. Move profits into other income-generating assets. Stocks, bonds, real estate index funds, private businesses, or even into your own education and skill development. Every dollar of profit you reinvest becomes a new snowflake added to your rolling snowball. It doesn't just make the snowball bigger right away, it increases the speed at which it grows in the future. You're multiplying your earning power and creating a positive feedback loop, a growth engine that keeps reinforcing itself. This is why large corporations and successful companies constantly reinvest into R&D infrastructure and people. They know that to sustain and expand their prosperity, they must keep planting seeds and nurturing the trees they already have. And that leads us to the final and perhaps deepest philosophy of this chapter: the gardener's mindset. A real gardener doesn't plant seeds today and expect ripe fruit tomorrow. They know there's a process. They carefully plant each seed. They water, fertilize, pull weeds, protect the plants from pests and storms. And they accept that it might take years, sometimes a decade, for a tree to fully mature and bear fruit. They think long-term. They are patient. They understand that growth takes time, care, and faith. They know the harvest will be worth it. When you're building wealth, think of yourself as a gardener. You are planting financial seeds today. Small saving starter investments. Good business decisions. You're watering and fertilizing them by reinvesting profits constantly, learning, sharpening your skills, and staying disciplined. You're protecting your garden from pests like reckless spending, unnecessary debt, and the temptations of get-rich-quick scheme. The gardener's goal is not just one harvest. It's to grow a thriving, abundant garden that lasts. A great tree whose fruit can feed your children and grandchildren, whose shade can protect them for years and years. Compound interest is not a hack, not some hidden Wall Street trick. It's a fundamental law of how the world works. It's how nature grows. One seed becomes a tree. That tree produces thousands of new seeds, and the cycle repeats. When you combine the magic of compound interest with the patience of a gardener, the discipline of reinvesting, and a long-term vision, you won't just build wealth for yourself. You'll build a legacy, a financial ecosystem, a life of abundance for you and for the generations that come after you. This isn't about getting rich quick. It's about building real, solid, sustainable wealth step by step over many years. It demands patience, discipline, and most importantly, a deep belief in the power of time and natural growth. So start planting today. Let your snowball begin its roll, and trust in the power of time and in the power of compounding. Because that is the final secret. The golden key that unlocks the door to generational wealth. We've been diving deep into the mindset and core principles from the book, How to Get Rich. We've talked about the importance of an abundance mindset, about creating value, and about the power of leverage. But honestly, reading or listening to ideas is one thing. Turning those ideas into concrete actions, into real changes in your life, is a completely different story. I get that feeling. That sense of being overwhelmed by too much information, not knowing where to even start. Or the good old procrastination that every single one of us struggles with from time to time. That's exactly why in this part, I want to give you a 7-day action kickstart plan. This is not some magic formula that makes you rich in a week. It's a powerful catalyst, a series of small but intentional steps designed to give you momentum, help you break through procrastination, and most importantly, help you see your first tangible results, even if they're tiny. Think of this as the first solid bricks you're laying down to build your financial path. You don't need to quit your job. You don't need a ton of money. You just need a bit of commitment and a willingness to take action. Ready? Let's walk through this plan together. Day 1, 2. Rebuild your beliefs and face your financial reality. We start with the deepest layer, your beliefs. You know, a lot of us, including myself in the past, carry around invisible anchors that hold back our financial growth. These are negative beliefs about money formed when we were kids, from family culture, society, or past experiences. Step 1. Write down 3 negative beliefs you have about money. Take a few quiet minutes. Grab a notebook or just use your phone and ask yourself, what do I really think about money? What does money mean to me? What kind of people are rich people in my mind? You might be surprised by what comes up. And maybe it's money is the root of all evil. Rich people are greedy and selfish. Making money is really hard and exhausting. Or I don't deserve to have a lot of money. Write them down, honestly. This is how you identify the invisible enemy in your own mind. Step 2. Rewrite each one into a positive, empowering belief. Once you've identified the negative beliefs, it's time to reprogram your mindset. Turn each limiting belief into a supportive one. For example, if it's money is the root of all evil, money is a powerful tool I can use to create value, help others, and do good in the world. If it's rich people are greedy, rich people can be generous and create a huge positive impact because they have more resources to give. If it's making money is really hard, making money can be a meaningful challenge and a rewarding journey when I focus on creating real value. Read these new beliefs out loud every morning and every night. It may sound a little woo-woo, but trust me, the power of repetition and self-suggestion is huge. Over time, it starts to shift how you see money. Step 3. Track every single expense. This step is extremely practical and sometimes a little shocking, but it's absolutely necessary. For these 2 days, write down everything you spend money on. Every coffee, every snack, every Uber ride, every bill. Use a budgeting app like Mint app, or even a simple notes app, a small notebook, or a Google Sheet, whatever feels easiest for you to actually stick with. The goal here is not to judge yourself. It's to see reality. You'll start to see where your money is really going. A lot of people never build wealth simply because they have no idea what they're spending on. This is your honest financial snapshot. Day 3 to 4. Expand your mindset and explore your earning potential. Once you've cleaned up your inner mental yard a bit and gained clarity on your finances, it's time to look outward to learn and to search for new opportunities. Step 1. Read 1 chapter of a book on sales. You might be thinking, but I'm not in sales. The truth is, if you're human, you're in sales. You sell your ideas to your boss. You sell your value in a job interview. You sell your product or service if you're a freelancer or entrepreneur. You even sell your story when you meet new people. Sales is one of the most important skills in building wealth. Grab a basic book on sales or influence something like The Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy, Influence by Robert Cialdini, or any sales book that catches your interest. Just read 1 chapter, not the whole book. The goal is to start understanding customer psychology persuasion and how to create value for others. You'll see that selling is not tricking people. It's serving them. Step 2. Brainstorm 3 side hustle ideas based on your skills. This is your creative moment. It's time to look at what you're already good at. You don't need a unicorn startup idea. Just think, what am I good at? What do I enjoy doing? What do people often ask me for help with? For example, good at English. You could tutor online, translate, or write content in English. Love baking. Start selling homemade desserts to friends, co-workers, or neighbors. Know marketing or design. Offer freelance logo design or social media management to small businesses. Strong in Excel. Teach Excel basics to students or professionals. Don't shut yourself down with thoughts like, who would pay for this, or I don't have time. Just write down 3 potential side hustle ideas. This is your first step in turning skills into income. Day 5 to 6. Turn 1. Idea into tiny action. Now you've got ideas. Time to bring at least one of them into the real world, even in the smallest way. This is where most people get stuck. They overthink and never act. We're going to break that pattern. Step 1. Pick 1 idea from your list of 3. Don't overanalyze. Choose the one that excites you the most or the one that feels easiest to start. The goal here is momentum, not perfection. Step 2. Take the smallest possible step to test that idea. This is the crucial part. Instead of thinking about starting a full business, renting an office, or designing a full brand, think, what is the smallest, lowest risk action I can take to see if this idea has potential? For example, if your idea is a product or service you want to sell, ask 5 friends or contacts. Hey, I'm thinking about offering your product service. Would this be useful to you? If yes, what would you realistically be willing to pay for it? Then listen. Don't argue, just collect feedback. Create a short online survey using Google Forms and send it to 10 to 20 people to ask about their needs, interests, and price range. Create a simple Facebook page, Instagram account, or landing page describing your idea and ask if anyone is interested. Invite people to comment or DM you. If it's a physical product like baked goods or handmade items, make a small batch and let a few people try it. Ask for real, honest feedback. If your idea is a freelance service, write a clear post introducing what you can do on your personal social media, what you offer, who you help, and maybe a sample of your work. Join a couple of Facebook groups, Discords, or forums related to your niche, and post an intro offering your services. The goal is to take your idea out of your head and put it into the real world where real people can respond to it. This doesn't cost much money, but the value you'll gain is massive. You'll know whether to continue, adjust, or drop that idea entirely. Day 7. Plant the seed of connection. We've done a lot in this 7-day sprint, from cleaning up beliefs to taking small, real-world actions. The final day focuses on something people rarely mention when they talk about getting rich relationships. Find and send an email.ddm to someone you admire in your field. Think of one person you truly admire, someone who's already achieved what you want in your space. It could be a successful entrepreneur, an expert, a creator you follow online, or even an older person you know who's financially independent. The goal is not to ask for a job money or a magic shortcut. The goal is to plant a seed of connection. What do you say? Start with a respectful greeting and a short intro, your name, what you do, or what you're interested in. Then, the most important part, be specific about what you admire in them. Mention a particular project, video article, or achievement that inspired you. Show that you've actually paid attention. For example, hi, name. My name is your name. I'm currently your work, field, interest. I really admire the way you, specific thing they've done, for example, built brand X from scratch, explained finance so clearly, solved problem Y for your community. Your article, video project XYZ really opened my eyes to what it changed for you. Close with a simple thank you and a light, humble note. I just wanted to say thank you and let you know how much your work has inspired me. If there's ever an opportunity to learn more from you in the future, I'd be incredibly grateful. Important. Don't ask for too much. Don't say, can you teach me how to get rich, or can you get me a job? You're building a genuine connection, not asking for a favor right away. Will they respond? Maybe. Maybe not. And that's okay. The real win here is that you took the initiative. You pushed past the fear, you reached out, you practiced connecting professionally and intentionally. And trust me, I've done this many times myself. And some of the most meaningful relationships in my life started with one simple message, just like that. So there it is, your 7-day action kickstart plan. As you can see, these aren't huge, dramatic leaps. They're small, intentional, solid steps. The goal is not to turn you into a millionaire in a week. The goal is to break your inertia, create momentum, and most importantly, let you experience the power of turning knowledge into action. You've already started the journey. You're doing what most people only think about, but never do. So, what now? Don't just listen to me. Start today. Pick up day 1 and actually do it. If you found this plan helpful, don't forget to hit like and share this video with someone who also needs a little push to start their wealth-building journey. And of course, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the valuable content coming next. If you've been with me from the start of this video, or you've even read through the book How to Get Rich that we've been breaking down, then this is the part I'm pretty sure you don't want to miss a single second of. This is where we distill everything down, strip away all the noise, and keep only the 3 most valuable gems, the 3 guiding principles that I believe can completely change the way you think about money and the path to getting rich. My goal here isn't just to recap. My goal is to give you 3 ideas you can hold on to tightly, carry with you like a map and a compass for your financial journey. Let's dive in. 1. Mindset is everything you have to think and act like a rich person before you actually become rich. Sounds cliche, right? Just think positive. But this goes way deeper than that. The book hammers home a truth that took me a long time to really absorb. You cannot expect to become rich while still operating with the mindset of someone who is broke or just trading time for money. Think of it like this. If you want to build a house, you need the blueprint and mindset of an architect, right? You can't just be the bricklayer who follows orders and expect to magically create a masterpiece. Rich people don't just want money. They become the kind of person who can create money. They see the world differently. When they face a problem, a limited mindset will say, "I can't afford that." A rich mindset asks, "How can I make enough money to do that? Or how can I do this without needing a ton of cash up front?" This means constantly asking yourself, if I were already wealthy, what would I do in this situation? Where would I invest my time? Who would I connect with? How would I solve this problem? This isn't about pretending or playing dress up. It's about deliberately adjusting the filters in your mind so you start spotting opportunities instead of only seeing obstacles. It's about believing in your ability to create value, about taking calculated risks, and about seeing yourself as financially responsible and capable, not as someone who's just waiting for opportunities to be handed to them. You have to install the wealth software in your internal operating system before it can produce external results. Honestly, this is the backbone of everything. 2. Own instead of just earn, build, or buy assets that generate cash flow. From mindset, we move into concrete action. This is where a lot of people are still confused. The book makes this super clear. Rich people don't just trade time for money. They build or own things that make money. Most of us start out as employees. We trade our time, skills, and energy for a paycheck. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a necessary starting point. But if you stay stuck forever in the equation time, money, you will always be capped by the number of hours you can work and by your physical and mental limits. You only get 24 hours in a day, and in reality, way less than that is usable for work. Rich people understand that to truly break out of that limit, they have to move from being a worker to being an owner. That means you need to build or buy assets that can work for you even when you're asleep. Think about it. You can buy a rental property and the monthly rent becomes cash flow. You can invest in stocks and receive dividends or long-term capital gains. You can build a business where systems and a team keep it running without you being there 24/7. You can create a digital product, an online course, a digital download, an ebook that can be sold thousands of times after you've only created it once. The goal is not to just work harder. The goal is to work smarter by putting your time and energy into creating machines or systems that can generate income on their own. That's the difference between hunting every day for your next meal and planting a tree that keeps giving you fruit year after year. Always choose planting the tree. 3. Action, discipline, and persistence. Knowledge is only potential. Action is what creates results. And finally, the part I'd argue most people miss, even though it sounds obvious, knowledge is just potential power. Action is what turns it into results. We live in the age of information. You can find every book, every course, every YouTube video on how to get rich. Knowledge is almost free and infinite. So why are there still so few people who are truly wealthy? Because there's a massive gap between knowing and doing. It's like having the recipe for the best dish in the world, but never turning on the stove. The recipe alone will never feed you. The path to wealth is not a straight line, and it's definitely not a one-click shortcut. It requires action. You have to start no matter how small the step is. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Don't wait for the right time. The best time is right now. Take the first step, even if you can't see the entire path yet. Discipline. There will be days when you don't feel like doing anything, when you're tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's showing up consistently. Even 15 to 30 minutes a day focused on your financial goals can stack up over time. Discipline turns small actions into powerful habits. Persistence, you will fail. You will make mistakes. Doors will slam in your face. This book never promises a smooth, easy road, and neither do I. Truly wealthy people are the ones who get back up after every fall, learn from what went wrong, and keep moving. They understand that failure isn't the end, it's part of the tuition you pay for success. Persistence is the momentum engine that carries you through the hardest phases and eventually gets you to cruising speed toward your goals. Never underestimate what steady persistence over time can do. And that, right there, are the 3 core gems I want you to carry with you from How to Get Rich. Mindset determines everything. Own assets instead of just renting out your time. Action, discipline, and persistence turn ideas into reality. These are not just theories. They're guiding principles that show up in thousands of real success stories. And they're the same ones I'm applying in my own life every single day. So now I want you to pause for a moment. Pick one of these 3 ideas, the one that hits you the hardest, the one you feel you need most right now, and commit to applying it in your life over the next week. Maybe that means changing the way you think and talk about money. Maybe it means starting to learn about one type of asset you could eventually own. Maybe it's as simple as committing 30 minutes a day to your personal growth and financial goals. Share with me in the comments, which one are you going to start with? I'm genuinely curious. The journey to wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. Equip yourself with the strongest mental weapons you can, and then take that first step bold and intentional. So we've walked together through the pages and the most powerful ideas in how to get rich. You've loaded yourself up with an incredible amount of insight, sharp strategies, and if I guess right, a fire inside your chest that's burning brighter than ever. But remember, this knowledge is only potential power. Real power comes from action. I don't want you to just be a viewer or a passive reader. I want you to become a builder, someone who actually creates change in their own life. And now, if you're truly serious about turning your desire for prosperity and financial freedom into reality, this is the moment for us to take the next step together. I have 3 small but incredibly powerful calls to action for you right now. They'll help you turn information into momentum and momentum into results. As soon as this video ends, I want you to scroll down to the comments and write down one specific concrete action, something small, doable, that you're going to take within the next 24 hours. It doesn't have to be world-changing. It just has to be a step. A step strong enough to break inertia and kickstart the bigger moves ahead. Maybe it's spending 15 minutes reviewing your expenses from last month. Maybe it's searching for a free online course to build a skill you've always wanted. Or maybe it's something even simpler, sending an email to a mentor or someone you admire asking for guidance on their own financial journey. When you write it down, you're not just making a promise to yourself, you're sharing that commitment with this entire community. It's a powerful form of accountability. It's your way of telling the universe and telling yourself, I'm ready. I'll be reading every single comment. Let's build a wall of commitments, right here, your first foundation stones toward prosperity. You already know the path to wealth isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. It demands persistence, constant learning, and intentional steps forward. And to make sure you don't fall off track, to make sure you're not walking this road alone, hit that subscribe button right now. And more importantly, don't forget to turn on the notification bell next to it. Because this channel isn't just about breaking down books. This is where we turn ideas into action, step by step. The upcoming videos will be the missing pieces of your wealth-building puzzle, from personal finance and smart investing to creating streams of passive income. I'll be sharing deeper lessons, action plans, and even stories from my own experiences. Don't miss any chance to learn, grow, and build alongside us. Let this channel become your trusted companion on the road to wealth. And if this video sparked even a single idea, a single moment of clarity, then someone out there needs it just as much as you did. Take a moment to share this video, not just generically on social media, though that's great too, but intentionally. Send it directly to one specific person you believe deserves prosperity too. Someone who deserves financial freedom, someone you truly want to see living a fuller life. Whether it's a close friend, a coworker, or someone in your family, be the person who plants a seed of abundance for someone else. Because real wealth isn't just what you accumulate, it's what you help others grow. When you lift others up, you widen your own path to success. That's the karma of prosperity. See, action doesn't have to be a giant leap. It starts with small, consistent, intentional steps. And I believe in you. I believe in your ability to reshape your life, to build the future you've always imagined. Don't just be a watcher. Be a creator. Start today. Thank you for being here with me. I'll see you again on our journey to prosperity.